Hi everyone, welcome again to another episode of Black Woman in HR one-to-one interview. Today I have two amazing ladies. Wow, I get the prize for 2 for 1. Usually I have one, but today I have two. It's amazing to just have two beautiful ladies talking to me today. So I have Rachel, Hannah, and
oh, sorry, our Zoom.
I know Rachel and
Hannah
and Rachel.
Yeah,
and I have Hannah and Rachel. So I have a little bit introduction about who you are, but I'll let you individually introduce yourself. So I'll just read what I have.
Yeah.
About the organization which you have and co-own. You met 10 years ago. Wow, fantastic. See what friendship and connection can do to you. So the job share pair at the duo, Hannah and Rachel, yes, here they are, who met over 10 years ago while working in HR department of a large, fast-paced, high-volume real estate services firm, meeting as colleagues and becoming firm friends. I want that friendship. Anyone out here wants to join me, partner with Black Woman in HR? Let's see what Rachel and Hannah have. Both ladies broached the idea of a job share with their line manager to each work 3 days per week with one critical crossover day. And after many discussions and much planning, they became the first job share duo in the UK of the Fortune 500. This gave them the work-life balance and they had hoped for. And as a result, they felt a duty to shout it out and help others. I love that. I love the fact that you wanted something, you made it work for yourself, but you thought, I'm not going to stop here. Yeah, it's going to help other women. So should we take it in turns? Rachel first, then.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having us. So yeah, a bit of an introduction. So I'm Rachel, mum of 2 boys. So you've done a great introduction for us there. So you've caught up on where we're at. So the history to us is that we were HR directors. So you mentioned that we started our job share after our first maternity leaves. And at that time, we set up an Instagram account to really try and network, build a community, share best practice and tips about what job sharing is, because it was just so new to us that we thought Instagram's the kind of platform where we can do that. And since then, we have set up our own business called the Job Share Pair. So our mission really is to normalise job sharing in the workplace, and we do that 3 ways. So we help organisations embed job sharing as a successful way of working. We support and coach job share partners themselves through a coaching programme, and basically our whole ethos and value system is about educating people about working flexibly, how to work flexibly, how to job share, so that we can have a really diverse footing within the business and get more females working in senior roles. And I'll hand over to you, Hannah.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah, and yeah, just to echo what Rachel's just said, thank you so much for inviting us to come on today and helping us spread the job sharing word. You know, you'll find that we are incredibly passionate about job sharing. We want to shout loud and proud about it, and we want to normalise it. So it's quite a niche area. So we are globally leading job share specialists. Like Rachel, I'm a mum of 2. Rachel's got 2 boys, I've got 2 girls. And, you know, between us, we've got over 25 years experience in HR. What we are now, we're co-founders, we're co-workers, we still job share our business. So we job shared in the corporate world and we job share now. And we're friends as well, which is super, super, super important for us.
Helps.
So thank you. What a wonderful introduction. I'm just going to ask, I know you met 10 years ago, but when did job share, the organization actually start? When did you start the job? Not the job share, but the job share.
Our actual business. So
your actual business, exactly.
We set up our business in February of this year. So during COVID. Yeah.
Oh, so a lot of businesses started during COVID, because I always say the future of work is job share, flexible, agile, however you see, and the future of work is being an entrepreneur. So what exactly is job share? So if I've seen your platform and I'm curious, what is job share?
It's an alien concept actually that is, you know, many people don't really know of job shares or have heard of it, but it is really what it says on the tin. So it's where 2 or more people jointly fulfill a full-time role. And it can be, there's lots of sort of different models of job sharing, but typically one person works Monday to Wednesday, and then another person works Wednesday to Friday. So there's that crossover day as well. But it's joint accountability for the performance outputs of that role.
If I want, so how does job share, so there's a question here that what made you start job share, but how does it work for me as I'm trying to access your business? How will I benefit from your organization?
As an employer, or
as a as both employer and employee?
So I guess the benefits of job sharing, is that what you're asking?
No, as in terms of your business.
So what are we bringing to organizations? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so what we do, it's kind of threefold, I guess. So first of all, we help organizations implement, embed job sharing. So that is helping them think about whether their culture is ready for this way of working. It's giving them all the tools to make it successful. Secondly, it's giving guidance, support on managing job shares. So throughout the whole of the, I guess, employee life cycle, but a job share life cycle. So getting the job share partnership together, onboarding them, going through the promotion process, thinking about pay process for job sharers. It's everything to do with that job share journey, separation, all of that. And then the other thing we do within organizations is we coach job share partnerships, because we use our own experience. So there's mentoring, coaching, and cheerleading, which we think is really important to add. We want job share partnerships to be the biggest success they can be for the individuals, but also for the organizations. There's research that shows that job sharers are 30% more productive than full-time employees. And that's because, there's a number of reasons. There's no Friday lull, there's double the energy, you've got 2 people really committed to that role. So, it can also bring about, commercial outcomes for organizations.
So thank you. On the back of that, what would you say will make a successful job share for the individual and for the individuals, I guess?
Yeah. I guess the biggest thing would be your attitude to work and your work ethic needs to be equally strong together. You can't have in a job share one person taking on the lion's share of the work. That's just not how it operates. There needs to be true equality there. Really great kind of team working attributes as well. You're a little micro team, so you have to kind of operate well together. That doesn't mean that you have to be best friends, and the fact that Hannah and I get on so well and we have a great chemistry and working dynamic is quite off-putting for some people, because they think, oh well, if we don't get on as well as them, then maybe it's just not going to work for us. But actually that's not the case at all. The reality of it is you only work together on a crossover day. So as long as you can have a really tight handover, you communicate really well, you over communicate to a degree so that there's nothing that falls through the gaps, and that you are really clear as to your own boundaries. You set them, but also you protect one another's, because if you are working in a job share and you work 3 days a week, you're only paid to work 3 days a week. So if you're logging in on day 4, day 5, then it's not working. And actually, there needs to be some kind of pickup there, whether that's from your own job share partner or with support from the business, because you should only really be working for as much as you're remunerated for.
Thank you for that. I know you've talked about the benefits. You've also touched a little bit about the challenges in terms of managing time, but I'm sure there are many challenges to job sharing. So for someone who is thinking of applying for a role and thinking about job sharing, or an organization thinking, okay, fine, other than flexible working, I want to start opening roles for job share, what should they be thinking in terms of the challenges that they may potentially face?
Yeah, well, there is a lot of reticence with business because job sharing is new to a lot of people. And if it's new, people often don't like change. So the onus really is on the job sharers to build a brilliant business case to try and demonstrate how they can make it work. And that is through anticipating the challenges, anticipating the issues that they can respond to. So if you're a business that doesn't have a particularly inclusive culture and doesn't celebrate diversity, then that's going to be a much harder thing for you to argue for. And some businesses often do say to us, you know, there is an additional cost for the crossover day. So really you're paying 1.2 of an FTE if you've got 2-3 day per week workers. But actually the reality of things are that and the research and stats demonstrate that job sharers are 30% more productive for exactly the reasons that Hannah mentioned before. So you don't have the Friday lull. You know, if you're in for 3 days a week, you have to deliver for those 3 days, and you are wholly and wholeheartedly accountable to your job share partner. And there's no other working situation where everything that I do will directly impact Hannah's workload, and that's quite a responsibility. And then if you're an individual, I guess the challenges are, you know, obviously you get pro rata salary and benefits, so you need to work out financially if that's something that you can work to. Sticking to your contracted hours, I've touched on, that can be really challenging, especially if you're in a more senior role. And there obviously is a risk about handover not being adequate. So ensuring that you take it upon yourself and are really committed to communicating strongly will mean that naturally the job share will work. It's all down to the handover.
Thank you. Those are amazing points. So we've talked about the benefit, the challenges, and I'm sure someone is asking, who can job share? As in, who can job share? And how can employers implement job share?
It's a really good question, and we genuinely believe that most people can job share, and we've seen people job sharing for a number of reasons, you know, whether they be working parents, whether they want to pursue lifelong learning, whether they want to have some time out of work to give back to their community. We've also seen it work in a number of different roles, from engineers at Ford to teachers to editors at The Guardian to CEOs. You know, there's a real, what's the word? We've seen a real growth in co-leadership models over the past 5 years. And also the leaders of the Green Party are job sharers as well. And in terms of how organisations can implement it, I think there are a number of steps. I think there's something around, there's a piece around truly looking at the culture of that organisation, making sure that job sharing or flexible working in any form can fit. Then you need to really think about the business case. Is it going to work for you? You need to think about job design, job evaluation, you know, how. And then I guess, you know, and this is where, you know, we can really come in, is thinking about how it's going to work in practice. So educating your employees, how are you going to get your job share partnerships? You know, how are you going to support them in this arrangement? You know, what needs to be handed over? What meetings do they both need to go to? What meetings can only one has to go to? So there's lots and lots when it comes to job sharing. There's lots and lots of sort of how-tos, what ifs, and that's really kind of where we come in. You know, our business was really born from what we would have found super helpful and what our business would have found super helpful when we first started job sharing, because we were the first job sharers in the UK arm of the business. And you know, we found that a lot of our time was setting it up ourselves, influencing other people, talking to who we call job share curious, you know. And actually, had we had tools and mechanisms in place pre-job sharing and setting it up, you know, we would have definitely been effective quicker, for sure.
Thank you for that. So we've talked about someone is thinking about job share, what are their rights, their employment rights? What rights do they have?
Yeah, I mean, the same as any other employee. So it would be really important to be really familiar with your contract terms, with the company's flexible working policies and procedures, anything in there, if there's clauses around trial periods, then just being aware of that and ensuring that you use those periods really is a test for yourself as well to see whether it's working for you. And if not, then ask for the support mechanisms to help. You know, maybe the role is too big for a job share, or you know, it's just not working in some capacity. So it is important to have a trial. And naturally, you know, obviously your listeners, being probably HR professionals, will know about not being able to apply for flexible working unless you've got continuous service of 26 weeks. But we're really hopeful that the flex from the first movement that's coming through will hopefully be approved so that everybody can apply for flexible working from day one. And that's, you know, something to be aware of. It's not by having that right, it doesn't mean it's going to be approved, but by having the right to ask is a really big thing. And hopefully more progressive employers will think about that when they are looking at their recruitment practice and looking at how they advertise for roles as well. There's a lot of businesses now particularly are deliberately encouraging flexible working by saying and using the words open to job sharing in their adverts, which is so brilliant, and something Hannah and I get so excited to see.
Thank you. This has been such an interesting interview. I actually feel now empowered. I feel, yes, I'm going to go for a job share.
Yes.
I think I've found more information, because I always wonder, because I think you're right. It's, even if you don't get along with your job share, you just have to be professional and make it work in terms of how the business runs. And some people think, what if I don't get it? What if we have clash personalities and we're not the same? So thank you so much for sharing your experience. And 10 years, wow, I always say, well, so my final question to you both in turns, what advice would you give to someone thinking of jobs? So for Rachel, what advice would you give to someone thinking of job share? And Hannah, how would you advise someone to approach a job share conversation with their manager?
So advice for someone thinking of job share certainly is to consider the financial implications. It's something that Hannah and I don't mention that much because it seems like an obvious, but it is something that you need to be aware of. Pro rata holidays is something that people might not think of. So and certainly check us out on Instagram. We've got so many tips, we've got so much advice, so many indicators as to whether it will work for you. And yeah, definitely approach your employer about it. Don't assume that your employer will say no. I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of the time we do have people coming to us saying, oh, you know, it wouldn't quite work for me, or I'm sure that my line manager wouldn't support it. And actually, if we don't ask, we don't get. And if it means that you will be retained in the business, then you are of a unique talent. And I'm sure that that would be something that they would be happy to look into at the very least.
And I guess when approaching your employer, make sure that you've done your research for sure. And I would give real thought to how you think your role would work in practice. So what would the handover look like? How would you work with your team if you have one, your clients, your stakeholders? Really give the kind of wider context of your role a little bit of thought. And as Rachel said, you know, don't just assume that your manager is going to say no from the outset, because actually, hopefully you'll see, you know, it is quite an interesting way of working. So hopefully you can, you know, open up the floodgates, basically.
Thank you so much. So for anyone who's listening to this podcast on YouTube, on Instagram, or LinkedIn, please, if you're still thinking about if job share is for you, reach out to them. So how can our viewers reach out to you? I know you've mentioned your Instagram as well. What's the name of your handle, your contact, and your LinkedIn, or where can they reach out to you?
Yeah, we're at the Job Share Pair on Instagram. We've got a company page on LinkedIn called the Job Share Pair. There's a bit of a theme going on. Hannah and I are obviously contactable on LinkedIn, Rachel Maguire and Hannah Hall-Turner. And in case it doesn't come across in the right way, you know, we are absolutely, truly passionate about helping people find their work-life balance, whatever that looks like. So if anybody needs advice, just let us know. We're really happy to help.
So you work with both employers and employees.
Yeah.
So, okay, fine. So anyone, so if you're an employer, please reach out to the job share, reach out to them on LinkedIn and all the social media. And if you're an employee, if you're still anxious, because I know even HR people still feel anxious about applying for job share. So you can, your business will guide, support them, advise, and provide them with the right tools and the knowledge to make it a success. So I would say this is a very informative conversation. Thank you so much, ladies, for sparing the time to speak to me. So, and thank you, everyone. So once again, please, this is Black Woman in HR one-to-one conversation. Please subscribe to our YouTube using the link below and follow the ladies. Thank you. Bye.